kindness, not fear. Now, this is indeed one of the hardest lessons we all have to learn. How to deal with fear. When I'm afraid, I don't know what to do. And when I don't know what to do, I become afraid. What do you do when you're scared? It's so hard to do anything. So how can you be kind when you feel this way? When you're shaking with fear, isn't it clear that being kind is the last thing you're thinking of? But perhaps kindness can be like a shield that protects you from fear. You may have to practice a lot, but you will find that being kind is a fine way to send that feeling away. To know that you have chosen to be kind, despite the fear you felt. But how? This is a good question. Let's see what happens in our next story, which has been shared over the years. One day, an American friend of ʻAbdu'l-Bahā's was visiting him. As the weather that day was particularly mild, she decided to go for a walk through the busy streets of the city. Exploring the exotic marketplace was a thrill for her. So many items for sale: spices, teas, robes, and carpets. Colors and craftsmanship beyond all imagination. What an amazing sight. The busy marketplace took her a little time to get used to. Loud voices calling out the prices of their goods could be heard ringing out of every street corner. Suddenly, a woman appeared in the marketplace. She stood out immediately, as she was wearing very ragged clothes and was shouting loudly at anyone she could find. Then the thick crowd parted, and she stood there in full view of everyone. Most people tried to avoid her at all costs. It became clear that this was a person who really needed help. But everyone in the crowd was too scared of her to do anything. One shopkeeper even moved his pots and pans indoors so she wouldn't damage them as she walked past. Slowly, people began to go about their business again, ignoring the poor woman. The American lady was terrified. She had hidden behind a wall, occasionally peeking over at the woman, but avoided looking her in the eye, just in case she would start shouting again. As she looked on at the scene, she felt that awful feeling we all sometimes feel. I should do something, she thought. But what? This woman could be dangerous. As these thoughts passed through her head, the crowd shifted once again, and a gleaming white robe could be seen moving amongst the many merchants, customers, and onlookers. Out of all the faces in the crowd, she spotted ʻAbdu'l-Bahá as he seemed to move through the rabble with ease. Now she really began to worry. What if ʻAbdu'l-Bahá walks too close to this woman? What if she is indeed dangerous and attacks him? I must do something. And to her horror, she saw ʻAbdu'l-Bahá separate himself from the crowd and walk straight towards the woman. But things did not go exactly as she had expected. Just as ʻAbdu'l-Bahá approached, the woman bowed and greeted him. He smiled and started speaking to her. As he bid her farewell, he pushed a coin into her hand. The woman was clearly grateful and seemed to no longer be in a panicked state. The American lady would later find out that this woman was the daughter of a desert chief, and she had suffered a lot in her life. And indeed, many people were frightened of her. But ʻAbdu'l-Bahá had always helped her despite her troubles, and he loved her very much. Even though she was not part of his family, he treated her with kindness and respect, and he was the only one who would. Has fear ever stopped you from doing something? Has it ever stopped you from being kind? Do you think there may be people around you who need help? Can you see them? Do you have the courage to be kind? When is it right to do something? And when is it better to do nothing at all? These are all good questions. ʻAbdu'l-Bahá had this to say: there is need of a superior power to overcome prejudice, a power which nothing in the world can withstand, and which will overshadow the effect of all other forces at work. That irresistible power is love.